Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Angela, and I'm a GP from Sydney with a special interest in medically supervised weight loss. Today, our topic is insulin resistance. Why insulin resistance? Well, I feel like it's a topic that doesn't quite get enough attention. Everyone always loves to focus on diabetes, and of course, diabetes is an important condition. They like to think about diabetes and its association as a risk factor for cardiovascular disease or stroke, or diabetes and its complications such as renal disease. However, not enough attention, I feel, goes towards insulin resistance. And why am I talking about this condition? Well, often patients will also struggle with their weight when they have insulin resistance. So that's the reason why I thought I would talk about this topic today. First of all, what exactly is insulin resistance? Well, it commonly occurs when the cells in your body, such as in your muscles, in your fat, and when your liver start responding poorly to insulin, and they can't easily take up the glucose from your blood. And as a result, your pancreas produces more insulin to help the glucose enter your cells. Now, over time, your blood sugar levels go up, which leads to a range of health issues. And essentially, it means that your body cells aren't as effective as using insulin to absorb glucose, which is vital for your energy. Now, we already talked about some conditions that insulin resistance can predispose to, and of course, we often just think straight about diabetes. But what about the other conditions that insulin resistance can be associated with? Well, let's also think about metabolic syndrome. Let's also think about polycystic ovarian syndrome. I feel like polycystic ovarian syndrome doesn't really get enough attention, particularly because it affects patients in so many domains. It affects patients in terms of their physical health. It affects patients in terms of their emotional health, their psychological health, and their day-to-day well-being. And I will also put a link in the comments below for my polycystic ovarian syndrome ebook, because I feel like there isn't quite enough recognition or information out there when it comes to polycystic ovarian syndrome. And a lot of people, unfortunately, think of PCOS as just a disease of the ovaries. So insulin resistance can be associated with many other conditions as well. And that's why I think it's important, if you have insulin resistance or if you have been diagnosed with being on the pathway to having insulin resistance, it's important to think about what it is that you can do to start turning things around rather than waiting or just watching, and rather than just monitoring and waiting for just that blood test in 6 months' time or 12 months' time. There's a lot of things that you can do in the meantime to try and turn things around. Okay, so you might be thinking, all right, I'm ready. What are some of the things that I can do? Do I have to 100% go low carb, zero carb, or no carb? That's often the very first thing that people will say, because they think, okay, insulin is related to your carbohydrates. Does this mean that I can never eat another carbohydrate again? It's not quite the case. When it comes to your carbohydrates, it's more about smoothing out your carbohydrate intake rather than cutting it out completely. And I do have some resources inside my online community. I've done a Facebook Live on this called Clever with Carbohydrates. My free online community is called Medical Weight Loss for Australians, and I'll also put that resource in the comments below. And in that Facebook Live, then we talk about different things such as choosing complex types of carbohydrates, choosing more whole grains, which are quite rich in fiber, choosing a good source of protein, and also having a look at the glycemic index of your foods as well. What people then ask me, okay, what about exercise? Do I have to do specific types of exercise? And they kind of get into this mindset where the bar is really, really high. And so they kind of put off even getting started with exercise because they think, okay, when all of the stars are aligned and when everything is perfect, that is when I will get started with exercise, because they believe that exercise will need to be like a particular regimen. Like it will have to be 3 days a week, 45 minutes a session, going to the gym, lifting weights of a certain number of kilos. It doesn't always have to be that strict or that structured. And it's more about actually getting started and doing something that is sustainable in the long term, even if it is something as simple as changing your method of transport. Instead of always driving to work, even if you are going for a walk, or even if you are parking a bit further away and you're incorporating some walking into your day. If there is something small that you can do each day so that you're incorporating more movement, then that is going to be something that is quite sustainable, and that is already something that is very, very positive. When it comes to exercises that are particularly helpful in terms of insulin resistance, we know that aerobic exercises such as walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, all of these can help to improve insulin sensitivity. And my favorite, strength training. Now, I know you might already be thinking strength training. Okay, has that got to do with lifting very heavy weights in the gym? Not always. So strength training can be as easy as getting 2 water bottles, 600 mils each, and that equals 1.2 kilos of upper body resistance when you're going for a walk. It can also include having some dumbbells at home to do some exercises, or it can include having some resistance bands as well. Why is strength training important? Well, we know that increasing your muscle mass improves the efficiency of utilizing glucose to respond to insulin. We also know that more muscle mass increases your metabolic rate, and improving your weight improves insulin resistance. And lastly, strength training improves the muscle's ability to take in glucose from the bloodstream, which reduces your blood sugar levels. So I hope that this little talk today on insulin resistance is helpful for you in getting started. I'll also put the links to those resources in the comments below. And of course, this information that I'm giving is just general information to help you get thinking and to help you get started. Individual advice is always best given from your individualized healthcare practitioner. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Bye, everyone.